Hello, Michael Crikey here. This is a little tip that I learned when I was learning how to draw, how to doodle. What you need for this is a bit of paper. I've got my big A3 drawing paper here. Then the only other two things you need are a coloured pencil. I use a blue pencil, but it could be a coloured pencil of any colour really. I just prefer blue for this. And then the other thing you need is just a standard pencil. So this is a standard HB normal pencil. That's all you need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I do this by doing a very simple sketch of a cat. I like to draw cats because I've got my cat Wilma. She ends up in quite a lot of my doodles. First of all, we will start with the head, and what I do, like I say, start with the coloured pencil. I'm using the blue, and I'm just going to start by doing a very rough circle. I'm going to do it a few times and go around in a ring like this, because I'm going to explain why. By going around like this, what eventually you see start to form, because it's very hard to draw a perfect circle first time, but what you can see as you start to do this is that somewhere in there, because there's lots of different lines, somewhere in there is an almost perfect circle. So you go over it a few times like this, and then you've got the very basic head of a cat that I'm going to draw. Then the next thing I'm going to do is going to draw a very basic shape of the body. So the body's not going to be quite a circle. It's going to be slightly more ovally shaped, but obviously it's going to be down here. So this is going to be a picture of my cat Wilma just sitting down. You can see I'm being very, very rough here. You don't have to worry about it being too rough, because you're going to come back and do the detail later. So you see at the moment I just got two very basic shapes. The next shape I'm going to do is Wilma's front leg. Okay, it's going to come in here, and again another very basic shape. So this is the top of her front leg. It's actually a bit low, isn't it? I'm going to move that. But this is the great thing about sketching like this in rough first, is that you can move things about and you don't have to worry too much. So I'm going to move her front leg up here. That's just too low. That's better. Right, and then her foot or a paw down here. Again, pretty rough. Until I've got it in about the place I want it. Okay, and then her back leg. So again, I'm going to start with very rough shape. And then the foot of her, or the paw of her back leg, just here. Okay. Now, what else do cats have? Well, obviously they've got their tail. That's a really important part of a cat, isn't it? So I'm going to start here. And then one more here. And then a final one like this. And then I'm just going to do some detail around Wilma's head. So obviously you've got ears. Now, because cats' ears are very sort of pointy, aren't they? I'm just going to do a very basic triangle. Like that. And the same on the other side. Very basic, very quick. And there you've got Wilma's ears. The next thing I'm going to do is, because she's sat like this, she's sat, so you can see her side, you can sort of see the shape of the cat now, of Wilma now. This is her side, and she's looking over this way. So she's looking over her left shoulder at us here. So this is going to be the front of her face, but her head's not completely straight on. It's at a little bit of a tilt back towards the centre. So what I need to do is, I'm just going to add in a line here like this. And this is kind of like a centre line on the vertical axis, so down from top to bottom. It shows you where the centre of her face is. So it's like a semicircle. And she's also slightly looking down as well, but only very slightly looking down. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do another centre line across the horizontal. Like that, on a very slight curve. You can see that's curved, but it's less curved than the vertical line. That's roughly the centre of her head, and you can hopefully see now that adds a little bit of shape to it. That adds a little bit of 3D shape to it. The other thing that you could do is, when you're doing this, is you could turn that into a oval or that, like that, if you find that easier. And the same here, you turn that into a sort of a even shape like that, and then maybe just emphasise the outer lines a bit more so you can see them better. And that gives you kind of a better idea of the 3D shape of Wilma's head there. So this is going to be right in the centre of her face here. And now what I can do is I can look to add where I'm going to put her features. So right in the centre of her face, I'm going to start with her nose. The way that I draw noses for Wilma is I just do a little thing like that, so almost, it's past a semicircle, but it's not quite a full circle. It's almost like a horseshoe shape, like that. That pinpoints the centre of her face there. And then her eyes, so these eyes are going to be relative to the centre line on either side of her nose. So just two very small dots. That's how I like to draw Wilma. It's kind of how I like to draw all the characters that I draw. Very simple features, so just dots for eyes. Slightly bigger there. And then next the mouth, so I'm going to come down the centre line here. I've created the vertical centre line. And cats have these kind of shaped mouths, don't they? I don't know if any of you, I'm sure some of you have got a cat, and you'll notice that they've got this very sort of, it's almost like a, what is it like? Some sort of hook, isn't it, on either side? So there's her mouth, and of course all cats have lovely long whiskers. So just draw a few of those. Okay, you've got a very basic shape. I'm just going to draw the inner bit of her ear like that. There you go, very, very basic outline shape. And that's all I'm going to do with the blue pencil, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add detail using this standard normal HB pencil. And with some of it, literally all I'm going to do, so with the ears for example, literally all I'm going to do is go over the lines. So what I'm doing here, I'm slightly changing it up. I'm slightly adding a slight curve, because when you draw like this, by firstly doing the really rough shape sketching in pencil, in the colouring pencil, is it gives you sort of license or permission, or the freedom, I guess, to sort of make it up as you go along when you're using the detail. You can add a bit more detail in, so I'm adding a slight curve into the ears, slight curve into the inner ears as well, so it matches. straightforward. Right, so now I'm going to start connecting up the ears, and you can see I've gone into the sort of close in to this, more to the centre bit of this rough sketched blue circle that I've drawn. So I'll do the same on the other side as well, so it matches. As I come round, I can sort of roughly follow where I think the line should go. Start on the other side, come round. Just going to connect up there. Okay, very easy. I'm going to do the face now because that's more or less already done with the rough blue sketch. So I don't have to do a lot of sort of detail there. When it comes to the body, that's slightly different because obviously with the particularly like the legs and the tail, I've done it very roughly, and you know, it just looks like blobs. You can see the sort of basic shape of Wilma's legs and her tail, but really they're just blobs at the moment. So this is where I start to add a bit more detail. So come down on that line I've roughly drawn, and then I'm going to go immediately into the leg, and I'm going to go again quite close in to here, because cats don't have fat legs, do they? They have quite skinny legs really. And I might have drawn these rough ovals are just a bit too fat really, so I need to come into the thinnest part of it. And then again, I'm gonna not go right to the edge. I'm just gonna find the part of the oval that I like the shape of. So I come in very steeply there rather than going around like that, but then I flattened out here, and having done all of this sort of rough over and over and over, it gives me all these different lines that I can follow. So it's really good, gives you lots of options. That's what makes this really good technique. I just follow the leg up there, and then come down my belly. Wilma's got a very sort of furry belly, so it doesn't matter if the line's a bit rough. And then with her back leg, what I'm going to do is that the leg is going to come, I'm not going to go all the way around from here, because her leg, the shape of her leg kind of disappears into the fur when she sat like this. So I'm just going to kind of start from about here, I guess. I'm going to come down like that. And then you come from there, her big sort of thigh there as it bunches up. Come down there into her foot. Now this isn't the best version of Wilma I've ever done, because actually her leg's a little bit off here, because she's kind of like sitting on a, it looks like she's got her foot up on a step or something. So I'm gonna draw a little. She's got her foot on a block, because her feet should be on the ground level. I've got this one very much higher, so you can cheat a little bit by pretending that was just always supposed to be like that. Anyway, so I'm going to carry on with her back leg. I'm coming around sort of around there before it then comes back round down again to finish that off. Okay, and then again down from the back of her neck, I'm going to come in quite I have to move around a bit here because I want to get over this side of the drawing. I'm going to come in very close. Oh, I've really come in too close there. But so I haven't hit any of the line there. It doesn't matter too much. It kind of gave me the shape to follow there like that, just by being rounded like that. And then the last kind of big bit is the tail. So the tail I've done in 3 parts. It's like 3 sort of sausages decreasing in size, really, isn't it? Got a big sausage, a medium sausage, and a small little sausage. You know, those sort of sausages that you get at Christmas time, wrapped in bacon. And then I'm gonna go up like that. I'm gonna kind of follow the curve like that. So this is going to be very sort of so I'm not really going into the edges like that because her tail doesn't actually look like a string of sausages. Those 3 sausage shapes are just giving me the basic shape of her tail. Just gonna add a little bit more of a curl at the end there. And there's a very basic shape. Just a couple of small details. Her front foot's quite a lot bigger than her back foot, isn't it? So you can kind of like make slight changes as you go along. Just going to add just some toes, very simple. That's kind of basically it, really. Now Wilma has some other little details. So she has some markings like this coming off of her ears, kind of like that, and she has a lot of like sort of markings on her back, roughly like this sort of thing, ginger and black. You can sort of add what you want to add, really. But that's a very, very basic drawing. And now what you could do is you could use that in a number of different ways. That could just be a practice. That could just be a way of getting you to practice how to draw animals using basic shapes. It could just be a practice. You could then maybe use some tracing paper to paint the top of it to do your final drawing. Or you could, like I do, if you've got a tablet, you could take a photo of that and then use your digital drawing software to draw over it. So it's kind of like tracing, but you're doing it in a digital way. I hope that was useful for you. That's, like I say, it's a really good tip. It's a very simple thing. It's something that I learned very early on when I was starting to sort of improve my drawing and doodling. Anyway, I hope that was useful, and I hope that's a useful, helpful tip. You find that useful for doing your drawing in the future. And happy drawing. Thanks. Bye.